meets is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe peoples. Many of you continue to live and work here today. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties and is within the land protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. Today, this gathering place is home to many First Nations, Métis and Inuit peoples. Acknowledging this is a reminder that our great standard of living is directly related to the resources and friendship of Indigenous people. Okay. Okay, so before we get to the agenda, just a couple of opening comments. First of all, I want to welcome our new mayor, Matt Cisco. Mayor Cisco is no stranger to anybody on this call, and we're glad to have him part of this committee. I did have the chance to speak to Councillor Cisco this summer and brief him on what we were doing with the Firefighters Memorial Task Force and getting the memorial going. And I can certainly tell you that he's strongly in favor, and we appreciate his attendance, guidance, and leadership on this committee. And congratulations, by the way, I think, of becoming mayor.
I think I like that.
Yeah, that's stellar endorsement there. Secondly, Councillor Lindell. Jackie, are you, you're with us here in spirit, I see. There you are. Yeah.
I'm here. I just don't like to scare anybody with too much video.
Okay, representing the great state, the Commonwealth of Meriton, and congratulations as well. Now, what's your relationship to Fred Lindell, if you don't mind me
My
asking?
dad.
Yeah. So I might have crossed paths with him in my youth when on the campaign trail every
Well,
now
you
and
and I have crossed paths a couple of times at Bruce Boudreau.
correct. I had him here this summer again. He donated and proceeds helped the donation to this great cause. So congratulations, Councillor, on getting elected. And I don't know if you won or lost the lottery to get on this committee, but we're happy to have you.
Thank you. I actually chose to be here.
Yeah, good. I imagine you did. Thank you. We appreciate the help and support from everybody, really. And my last little personal comment is I had a challenging month last month, and a lot of you reached out to me, and I just wanted to extend appreciation. A few of you covered for me as well in meetings and other things, Lori. So thank you very much to everybody for that. Okay, on to the agenda. There were no additions, amendments, or deletions to the agenda as circulated. So we'll get a motion to approve the agenda, please. Mover seconder, moved by Mayor Cisco and seconded by Nancy. Thank you. All those in favor, opposed if any. I always, by the way, Mayor, our previous mayor made a point of correcting or helping me when I missed out on the parliamentary rules here. So I'll feel free to jump in if I forget to call a vote or something like that, which I've been known to do every now and again.
I promise I will take care of that for you.
Thank you. The previous minutes that were circulated were from our October meeting. So we need a motion to adopt the minutes of the previous meeting, please. Mover seconder, moved by Chief Upper and seconded by Nancy. Thank you. All those in favor? Carried. Okay. Any declarations of interest? Seeing none. No presentations from invited guests. We'll get to the business. All right. We'll just switch screens here quickly. We'll get the agenda up. Okay. So basically, since we last met, it was a fairly busy meeting, and I didn't want to go 2 meetings without, 2 months without having a meeting. Recognizing there was a change in council, elected officials, etc., and it was kind of a hairy month. We skipped over November, so wanted to just get everybody back focused here, welcome our new members, and deal with a couple issues that we have at hand. First of all, just a quick recap on the groundbreaking ceremony. Again, as has been proven many times previous, everybody did a stellar job on this thing. I wanted to thank Chief for the getting all the guys out there, the machinery out there, Ryan and getting all of the alumni out there. Lori for the tremendous amount of organizational work behind the scenes. The fallout from that event, frankly, having done this a few times, was more media than I think any of us could have ever really have hoped for. And the results are there. I got calls for donations literally for 2 weeks afterwards. So that event, I think, it's always going to be a challenge for us to keep this initiative top of mind. We're obviously fighting everything else that's topical, but this initiative is difficult for people to understand exactly the scope of what we're doing on site there. Basically building a first-class park from scratch, not to mention the memorial. So those kind of events are extremely helpful to keep this top of mind for the public and for fundraising. So thank you to everybody for your assistance on that one. Secondly, we went to Fill the Boot, which was coming this past weekend. Quick refresher for everybody: we had firefighters out at various intersections, including in front of Canadian Tire, and they were risking their lives and limbs at 4th Avenue anyway to try to get people that were stopped at the lights to do the traditional fill the boot, similar to what we've seen at Grape and Wine and other events in the past. So I don't know, Chief, if you have the results of that. I did go and visit all 3 locations. And again, the Ice Dogs were out there. They've been a tremendous supporter of this initiative. They had Ice Dog players were at all locations. And, I learned a lot about how we can do that better in the future. But as a first step, I thought it was a tremendous effort, and certainly incredibly well attended by the firefighters. So do you want to give us your quick comments, Chief, and sort of results of that, if you don't mind?
Yeah, for sure. So from a results perspective, we were able to raise $6,700, which I was really surprised and pleasantly, that was great. Like you, doing this for the first time, I think for sure what we should do if we do it again would be we could gang the Penn Center, so to speak. We had some of the Penn Center security guys come out and speak with us, and they said, hey, you should have coordinated with us. We would have stuck you at all the entrances. And it's hard, right? Because you don't want to encroach on the Penn Center space and do that, but they really wanted us out there. So I was surprised at the response, and then surprised at the response of the public as well. At 4th Avenue, we had lots of people stopping to bring the kids to see the trucks and people talking with the firefighters. So it was really well received. And like you said, if we had to do it again, I think we could definitely build it out. I was worried about the intersection traffic, and things went really well there. I think people, with the social media piece as well, people were anticipating coming because there was some significant contributions that we weren't expecting. You typically think of, fill the boot with somewhat loose change and some small bills. And people had donated significant amounts because they intended on coming to the locations for the purpose of donating. So really surprised, great response from the community. And I think if we were to do this again, say at another time in the spring, or that we definitely could improve. So yeah, it worked really well.
I agree. One of the key takeaways was the traffic thing is interesting, but people are better prepared, especially when they go in and out. I watched at Canadian Tire that a lot of the people that went in donated on their way out. They got their money, they got change, they figured it out. So many people don't carry cash anymore, or carry very little, right? So kudos to you, Chief, and the team. That was full court press at every location, extremely well attended. So yeah, I think we'll see what the spring brings, but certainly we should brainstorm around and see where we land on fundraising, and see if if we're going to do a few more of these things. And again, the Ice Dogs, and I have an update with them coming, but sending people out and some of their PR team too is great. By the way, is it just me, or are those kids like younger every year? Like I met these Ice Dog players. I'm like, really? Are you like even in grade 10 yet? Anyway, they're young. They were all great, shaking hands, wearing their jerseys. So it was tremendous awareness. So thanks again. I'll segue into fundraising in general, because those two initiatives certainly sparked some. I had a number of meetings set up in November that unfortunately I couldn't get to for personal reasons. The only upside was I saw those people and over that same period of time, and I'm extremely encouraged by the word of mouth feedback to round out the major donors. We have 3 competing for the final spot, and I might, give it to 2. It's really just which one wants to sort of sign first. And really, I got to get to the meeting, and we're over halfway home. I did a quick count. It looks to me, and we'll have to organize behind the scenes on this to make sure I'm right. But it looks to me the benches are fully subscribed, and we're about halfway home on the trees. So I think that as soon as I get that last big one done, the other people will fall seamlessly into that. So I'm extremely confident that once I can't do much during the holidays, but once we get back rolling in January, we should have this thing, at least that piece done January, February at the latest. And we'll keep going on the bricks. I haven't had a look at them lately. I don't see that because it goes indirectly. But Laura, you and I and the chief will huddle up later in the week and get a count of the bricks. So I'm going to ask the chief though what happened at the gala, the retirees banquet, which unfortunately I couldn't make as well. I had a nice presentation to give to the guys. I know the chief and Ryan Medill covered for me. So I'm just curious as if our message got out there and how things resonated with the retirees, especially as it relates to the brick campaign.
Yeah, it was unfortunate you weren't there. It was a great turnout, and not having done it for the past 2 years because of the pandemic. Obviously, we had a nice response. So President Medill beat me to the punch. He spoke to the memorial and explained to them where we're at in the brick campaign. Speaking to some of the retirees, they were obviously very interested and pretty excited about it. I think that I still would like to do something with them to host some type of event. I think that would be great. Getting everybody back in the room. Everyone had missed everybody and they commented how great it was to see everyone again because they haven't been together in so long. So I think if we were to put an event together and give them a heads up that we're still, working on the brick campaign, that would help facilitate, I think, even more. So I think, looking into the new year, we should look at doing something with the retirees.
Okay,
Sure.
Yeah, like we sort of intended to do that. So why don't we get a hold of Ryan and we'll try to get something organized second or third week in January. I'm happy to host it, buy some pizzas and beers, get the guys together and try to get them motivated to get rolling on the brick campaign.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do you think it's worthwhile if you have 3 donors and we only have 2 spots left? Is there any way we can make some modifications to have all 3 donors?
Of course. I just I before I move that monument, I want to make sure we have them. There's options for deploying the other donor for sure.
Okay.
And that's why I was a little reluctant to do those approvals, but they had to get done, right? So yeah, we'll no stone will, pun intended, will be left unturned on it. And I think there is options there, but you saw I canceled the picture part of it, partly because I had that in mind. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to feel free to, if there's any questions on current fundraising, I wanted to move to our next fundraising initiative. And that's the primary reason I wanted to have today's meeting. Any questions, comments, concerns on current fundraising? Okay, so we have the opportunity to use our tip tap machines with the ice dogs. And I got confirmation from the ice dogs that they're prepared to start that initiative on December 30th and run it all the month of January and possibly afterwards, depending on how it goes. So I know from previous correspondence that Lori was successful in securing 3 tip tap machines. And so I just wanted to check in on the status of those and then work on a sort of an action plan to get the ice dogs up and running. So where we, like, I don't know the mechanics of that, Lori, so can you give us a quick sort of where that's at and what needs to get done, if you don't mind, please?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we are ready to go. So all 3 of the tip tap machines are in my office. They are charged. They have been branded with the Fill the Boot, Donate to the Fallen Firefighters Memorial Initiative. So they are ready to go. Okay.
Now, I'm just trying to think myself through as a person at an Ice Dogs game. And so I'm going to walk up to the concessions or where they're going to be located. Is there like signage specific? Like I can, or do we need to augment signage, or are you comfortable that what we have is good enough?
It might be advisable to have some additional signage from the marketing deck. Perhaps we could put them on a tripod stand so that it's much more visible. Yeah, like the size that the fire chief is holding up. If we put that on a tripod stand beside the tip tap machine, I think there's no way that anybody would miss it, whether the tip tap machine is at one of the entrances, exits, or by a concession.
Okay. Okay, Chief?
That board I just held up, we have 6 of those from the Fill the Boot that we did at the intersections in that 4th Ave. Do you want to use those?
I'm thinking, my thought is, and I don't want to be presumptuous here, but I think it's Julie that from comms that handled this last time. Am I correct? That name, Lori?
That's correct. And I have a series of those large boards as well, Chief, which is from the marketing deck, which is different, which actually has the sort of the schematic of what the memorial is going to look like.
So my question is, again, I don't want to be too presumptuous, but those ones that you held up, Chief, were customized for that Fill the Boot initiative. Is there any way we could get something similar, customized, and actually co-brand it with the Ice Dogs logo? I personally think that'll be more impactful. Plus, I think the whole concept of a tip tap, it isn't just kind of an everyday known thing. I think if there's a bit of instructional verbiage on the sign, it would help people with that, bias them toward action. So they come up there, they see, okay, Firefighters Memorial Initiative, there's a convenient tip tap machine. You get an option of donating 2, 5, or 10, or 5, 10, and 20. I don't know if we've decided that. Yeah. And just put so my question is, if we're in agreement on that would be a more effective, impactful piece, what do we think the chances are of getting that done internally, same way as Fill the Boot? You're saying yes, Laura, you can do it yourself? You have that power?
Barry, we can make it happen for you. The tip tap machines are ready to go. We can just take some existing graphics and we can modify them. The space on the tip tap machines themselves is relatively small. So if there's going to be a lot of logos and we're going to add some instructional pieces, then we might want to do some new corrugated signs. But I was able to turn that around in a day for the printing. It's just whether or not we have permission to use the Ice Dogs logo. Right. That would need to be confirmed before we go ahead.
Okay, so what I'll do when we conclude the meeting is I'll put an email together and bring on the PR team from the Ice Dogs with you, and just sort of say, this is. I told them we were meeting tonight, and they wanted a green light on December 30. So I'll say committee's green lighted December 30, and we're going to do some custom signage to help call people to action, and we'd like to use your logo because it's a good co-branding opportunity. The other reason I like that is I think it might extend our opportunity with them as a co-branded piece. Questions, comments, concerns on tip tap?
Councillor Dodge has her hand up, Barry.
Councillor Dodge, oh, welcome to the meeting. Congratulations on your re-election. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Nice to see.
Nice to have you back on our committee. I'm sorry I missed a hand. That's why I rely on the council professionals to assist me. Go ahead, Don.
So I just for clarification for myself, you said that you're going to put the Ice Dogs logo on the sign.
Mhm.
So does like okay, so like if I was walking in and I saw that, I would think, oh, if I'm giving money, it's going to like the Ice Dogs and the firefighter. Like, you know what I mean? How do you
Yeah.
clarify that, or is it going to both? I just wasn't sure what the idea was.
It's a fair question. I think, I think we'll be clear on,
Okay.
on what the donation is going for. But I think that, in conjunction with presented by, sponsored by, with assistance from, those kind of words that comms people are better at than me will be evident there.
Okay.
And I think that, again, I just, like all of you, we're all Ice Dog fans. We go to Ice Dog games, and it'll show. I think the Ice Dogs are doing us a solid on this, like
Mm-hmm.
a big one, frankly.
Sure.
And this is the equivalent of putting a collection tin in front of the arena for 7-8 games, whatever, like a quarter of the schedule, and so I think that it behooves us to do it for that reason, and I think that it'll not only be appreciated by them, but with the fans too.
Yeah. Okay. I just wondered, like, I just wasn't sure how that was going to work because, when people see it, what do
No,
they
I mean,
think when they're
it's a good
donating?
point. We'll make it clear.
Okay. I think it's a great idea, though. Good for them for supporting us.
Oh yeah. Okay. Any other questions or concerns, Chief?
Just with the signage, is it going to hold us up? I guess I'm worried we're going to miss Christmas with the tip top machines.
They won't let us start till December 30 anyway, so that's our window. Yeah, that's what they said to me, Dave. I think there's some reason for it, but I was thrilled to get it. We got all January. The crowds are usually great after Christmas because there's not a lot going on, right? And people,
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, that's great. Thanks.
Okay. That's if they're not going over to Bills games. I caught that Milano tweet, by the way. Loved it. All right. It's only, I don't know if anyone got that, but okay, that's our next initiatives. I want to just make sure we're clear. We're going to do the retirees event and we're going to do the tip tap. And Lori, I'll get those. You and I'll work on the signage right away, and then we'll get a handle on where we're at with bricks, etc. So my next item of business, the last one I have, is just to check in on the actual construction side of things. I have been out of the loop on that a little bit. I know there's been a little bit of back and forth with the various departments of the city that are involved in this. So I always like to take advantage of the fact that we have senior elected officials on this call if any assistance is needed with the interaction with the contractor and the city, and if there's anything pending on that front. I know Lori, and thank you, you've been kind of covering for me on that over the last few weeks. So can we just get a quick update for the group on that, please?
Yeah, happy to update. Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. So similar to building a new house, there are several different types of plans that are required for the construction for the site. And we've already overcome a few hurdles. The contractor provided us with some detailed landscaping plans. And my understanding is that those plans are satisfactory and have been reviewed by city staff. The contractor also provided some schematics and some plans for the granite work, which required some approvals from the executive team of this committee. And I believe that has already been decided and been done, and instruction has been given. What really is outstanding is some engineering items. So our engineering department has some requirements that they would like to see met before we officially break ground. So that was summarized and sent to the contractor in an email. But because it was quite detailed and very technical in nature, what we had recommended is that we sit down and sort of have a summit meeting with everybody in the room so that we weren't exchanging hundreds of emails. Let's get all the players together, get the engineers in the room with the contractor, with everybody, so that we could hash it all out. The challenge with that has been just the timing. So everybody's schedules right now have just been crazy with the holidays coming up and vacations. We haven't been successful in getting everybody in the room at the same time. And we know the contractor's coming from quite a distance away. We don't want to waste her time driving all the way to Niagara if we don't have the people there in the room that she needs to ask questions with and get clarification of what's required. So I'm hoping, Barry, that we can set that up first thing in the new year when everybody's back to a more regular schedule, and that there will give us plenty of time to work through any kinks or concerns from an engineering perspective.
Wow, you should run for council. So I feel I'm at the inflection point of bureaucracy and action. I'm going to defer because I'm unfortunately I'm just not briefed on this. And am I correct, Lori, in thinking that I recognize there's a whole bunch of items that have long lead times due to supply chain issues? So even if this meeting gets pushed back, let's call it 3 weeks from when it should really happen, this really isn't going to affect our schedule, because I don't want, like, are there weather items that, my understanding was that certain things need to happen before frost. And I don't know if that window's passed or not, if the weather we have now is considered freezing or not from a construction perspective. So what I'm asking is, should we push harder to have a meeting pre-holidays with the assistance of everybody on this call, and because it's going to buy us a few months of foundation work or something along those lines? And I don't want to put you on the spot. I don't know if you have that answer or not. I'm sort of asking it generically, but can anyone shed light on that? You want to take that, Chief?
Yes. As much as it pains me, I think we're going to be jammed up with the holiday schedule. I know that Director Martuccio is only here till Tuesday and then he's gone. So that I know Lori's tried to get him into a meeting and his schedule has just not been, his availability is not enough to get into a meeting before Christmas. So unfortunately, it's going to have to come in the new year.
Does anyone know, Dave, do you remember from the previous discussions, like, is this going to hurt us on timing wise because of the foundation?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to hurt us. I think with the lead times on the granite and the bronze, that it'll be fine. I mean, it would have been nice to break ground a couple of weeks ago and then have things set in the spring. But I think it's not going to change the completion date on us. That's all. It's just going to make it a little bit more compressed.
Okay. Well, it doesn't seem like there's much we can do here. So, Lori, here's my thoughts. Continue to try to get a meeting set as early in January as we possibly can. And even if it means people have to zoom in or whatever, I recognize that it'd be better if we were all there physically. I know you're good at organizing all of that, so I'll leave that in your hands. I will call the contractor myself just to see if and you know, I'll come back to people ad hoc if need be, if I think we're running into a major crisis here that we all need to be aware of. It seems like that's not the case. It seems like you know, this probably won't be a detriment given how long we have to wait for certain items anyway. But okay, well, listen, that's a fair update. Is there anything else to add or anything else we're missing on that front? No, head nods. Anybody questions for Lori or Chief on the construction process, or myself, although I've been out of the loop a little bit? Okay. The last item I had was just, I didn't want to lose sight of this. Did we work with Ryan on a letter to the other associations? I think that one fell through the cracks unless that was done in my absence. Did that fall through the cracks, Laura?
Yes, that's one of the things on our to-do list. That was for you and me, Barry, to
Okay.
draft that and to have it ready.
Okay, so I'll take the responsibility for having gone dark for a little bit. So let's just undertake, Lori, you and I, I'll probably draft something in an email and we can refine it. So we want to make sure that that Ryan, as president of the union, reaches out to all the other associations in Ontario. They have a strong track record of supporting these initiatives helping other associations. So we were going to do a small revised deck. So why don't I undertake to script a little verbiage in an email, and if you don't mind adding it to 1 or 2 slides from the deck, we'll send it over to Ryan. Does that work? Okay. Okay. That's it for my list. I don't and certainly covers the agenda as I'm looking at it. So open it up now to any items of new business or anything that from an existing business perspective that I may have missed. Nothing? Good. Okay. Well, then I need a motion to adjourn, I believe. Oh, hang on, I missed some.
Through you, Mr. Chair, maybe we should have a quick discussion about the next meeting date. There was a decision by City Council last night to pause all advisory committees and task force in the new year, unless it's absolutely necessary for meetings. There's going to be sort of a review from the City Clerk's office on all advisory committees and task force for the new term of council. Having said that, we do already have a smaller working group that has been doing some things in between our regular meetings. So I'll throw it back to you how you would like to handle things moving forward.
Mayor, can you share some insight? I had no idea on that initiative, and maybe give us, I'm happy to pause for a month if there's a review. I imagine this is partly, there's probably too many committees, but
So the pause is largely related to the committee structure. The truth is, task forces, all committees and task forces can meet at the call of the chair. So, Chair, if you want to continue to have the regular meetings, that's your call. And the ultimate goal, because the report isn't going to be coming back till the end of Q1, I think, at the earliest for the committee review. This task force has a very clear mandate and timelines that it's trying to meet. So it's completely appropriate for you to continue to call meetings on a regular schedule. The committees are really what we're concerned about. Most of the task forces have clearly defined goals, so it shouldn't be an issue for us here.
Perfect. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, thank you, Mayor. My recommendation here, but I'll table it, is we do have a small group that meets weekly. And because there's, especially now that the contractor's engaged, there's a whole bunch of little decisions that need to sort of happen to keep the flow. We can meet as a small group and defer setting a meeting slate until early in the new year. Maybe try to have a look and see what kind of frequency we should have. Just revisit the date, time, and frequency of calling this. Does that sound appropriate, or would people just prefer to keep what we have going?
Chair,
yeah, go ahead, Mayor.
Could I just ask if that's the will of the task force? I think that makes complete sense. But could I ask that whenever those meetings, smaller meetings occur, that an update email just be sent to the task force so that we have a sense? And it obviously does not need to be long. Just a couple sentences about this is where we're at, this is where we're going. There may be a need for a meeting in a month's time, et cetera, so that we're kept apprised.
Of course, yeah. We traditionally bring back. They just started, by the way, since the contractor got involved. We would really just meet monthly with not as much activity in between. But the contractor was complaining that waiting a month for some decisions, rightly so, was not working, right? So we put this this small group together to try to, and then bring all the cumulative effect of that back to this group on a monthly basis. So let's table this. I think we don't need to make a decision right now on the spot. I feel that we want to, it's a good opportunity. I think the city's doing the right thing in examining all these. So let's examine ours. Let's examine our frequency now, especially with the contractor. This has certainly changed a lot. This was just an idea a year and a half or 2 years ago when we first met. And there's been a tremendous amount of progress. So it's probably appropriate. So we'll send out a group email. We'll have some discussions offline, but we'll get it out probably before the end of the calendar as to what January forward looks like. Does that work for everybody?
Sounds good.
Okay. Any other comments, questions, items of new business? Okay, we need a motion to adjourn. Chief, seconded by Nancy. That's cool. Listen, thanks again, everybody. And if I don't see you, I hope you have a wonderful, safe, happy holiday season. And we'll look forward to reconvening in January. We'll endeavor to keep you updated as best we can by emails and other sources along the way. And don't forget, in case you're doing some last minute shopping or in the next week or so, a memorial brick is a wonderful item to stick under the tree for somebody. And it truly is the gift that keeps on giving because it lasts forever. So on that note,